Welcome to Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights, a podcast by coaches for coaches. Our guests share their hard-won wisdom to help you grow your coaching business and create a life of success. So get ready to unlock the blueprints to your success. Welcome, everyone, to today's episode. I'm so grateful that you joined me, and I am also grateful to have Alfredo Borodowski here. He is an executive coach from New York, and I am excited to hear his story. So welcome to the show, Alfredo. It's lovely to have you.
Hi, Jeanne. Happy to be here.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about how you became an executive coach. And you told me also that you work with some nonprofits. So tell us a little bit more about that.
I am an executive coach. I do mostly what is called positive psychology, the science of flourishing. And I was the executive director of a major organization coming from Argentina, middle class. I had my office facing Central Park. I was on top of the world and didn't have to think about anything positive because I was living the life of positive. Until 2013, on June 19th, when I was arrested, I was manic for 3 months, didn't know it. And I went to my psychiatrist, a psychiatrist, and I lied. And I told him that I was depressed. Then I got an antidepressant because manic people are super creative, energized, lose weight, and I loved my mania and I wanted more of it. Then I asked for exactly the wrong medication. He prescribed it to me, and a friend of mine, a police officer, gave me one of those badges, like friends and family, okay, and told me, with this thing, the little badge, you will have no problems. And that's when the problems began. Because the next day I went through a traffic sign, I was stopped, and when I showed the badge, I was told, "Sir, you can go." And manic, taking the wrong medication and the badge, I got into the role of being a police officer, and I began driving through the highways of New York, showing the badge and telling people how to drive. Until I showed it to a young lady, she made a phone call, and I had 3 police cars behind me, and I was arrested and charged with impersonating a police officer, which is a felony. It happens to be that I got a restraining order against me by this lady, and a month later, I Googled her, and I see a picture that she was getting married. And I look at the fiancé, and who was the fiancé? The police officer who arrested me.
Wow.
And I was fired from a job, and I was hospitalized, and I got into front pages of newspapers because I was the executive of a prestigious organization and impersonated a police officer. I even was on front pages of newspapers from Japan to Ireland, and I never touched anybody. And I went into deep depression. I lost everything, all my teaching and workshops and consulting, everything was canceled. And I had 4 cases against me in 4 different courts. Then I went into a sofa, into a fetal position for 8 months of darkness. Until one morning, Jeanne, I felt that energy pulling me up of the couch and calling me up, pushing me up to my office. And I got to my office, and on my desk, I found something which I am not sure how it got there. And I took it, I opened it, and it was a file with a test on positive psychology I had taken a few years before, and I looked at my top 5 strengths: creativity, curiosity, love of learning, perseverance, and courage. And an energy came to me, a switch was turned inside of me. Alfredo, this is you. This is you. And a month later, with those strengths that I had forgotten, I went back to school in the middle of the court cases, in the middle of the depression, social work school, and became a social worker. I had the best grades of all school. And I said, I need to go throughout the world, giving people the gift of knowing their top 5 strengths of positive psychology. Because I learned that 70% of people, 7 out of 10 people in the United States are not aware of their top positive psychology strengths. And there is an epidemic of strengths blindness in our country and other countries.
Wow. You have had quite a journey.
Oh yeah, I am wiser and stronger, Adam.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients, helping them understand their strengths and moving into using that positive psychology.
Yes, if you know your strengths, you're going to be able to flourish 9 times more just by knowing them. If you apply them 18 times more, then you walk into your workplace, any place, and you.
Okay, quick pause. This episode is sponsored by our Profit Clarity Masterclass. If you've been avoiding your finances and quietly hoping it won't catch up with you, we want you to hear this. You're not failing. This is incredibly common for most business owners. Most people don't avoid money because they don't care. They avoid it because it feels heavy, confusing, or stressful. In our free live masterclass, we're going to show you a clear, more supportive way to handle your finances so your business can actually support your life. You can learn more and save your seat at lessmathmoremoney.com. We look forward to seeing you there.
You have 10 people, likely 7 of them are going to be working 9 to 18 times below their potential. Then the first thing I do at companies, organizations, with individuals that I coach, whatever the problem is, whatever the challenge is, whatever the dream is, we always begin with a strength workshop clarification. And I make sure that everybody around the table or the individual owns the 5 top strengths. That's the first thing I do. No matter the situation, you cannot solve problems, be motivated, and be resilient if you are not using your strengths.
Do you have some kind of test that you do with them?
Yes.
Or is it a meeting, or how do you determine?
I use what is called the VI instrument, Values in Action, which is an instrument that maps your strengths. Is today the most used instrument in the world. 16 million people a year take it. Is the most reliable and consistent instrument today on the market, scientifically proven. It takes half an hour to do online, and you get the 24 strengths, there are 24 of positive psychology, and your top 5. And then we work on what you do best, not in trying to correct what you don't do great.
I love that, because I do think some people spend too much time trying to be better at something that's not their strength. And inevitably, they never get to the place they want to get because they're not meant to be there in the first place.
Exactly. Then we don't waste time with I tell you, there is now a politically correct, let's work on vulnerability. There is nowhere I go that they don't ask me about vulnerability. Renee Brown, who is the main person, did a good job marketing it. No, why vulnerability? We are living in a world with the most anxiety, depression, and uncertainty ever. Okay? Vulnerability, any way you want to define it, is about fragility. No, I have a different take. We begin with strengths. We need to make people strong. We don't have to apologize. They are called character strengths, not only strengths, character, because it's about how you are at your best, okay? And it's about the whole person. It's not a talent or a skill. It's about who you are. Then I go a little bit against, not a little bit, a lot against this new kind of fashion of the vulnerable. I work with people's strengths.
I love that. So once someone takes the exam, then do you coach them? Do you meet with them on a regular basis to help them work on their strengths?
Teams, I have a workshop. It takes around 2 hours. We go through games. It's all game-based and simulations where everybody gets the strengths. We have also a team profile strengths. Out of the individual strengths, I determine what are the strengths of the team. And then it's amazing because I tell you an example. I was in Chile. I work a lot of South America, and there were 10 people of a sales team, and 9 of them had among the top 3 honesty, which is a very good strength to have. But every Monday morning, they had the meeting at the beginning of the week, and they got into a fight with each other. Okay, bad toxicity. And I asked them, simulate a Monday morning meeting. And immediately what the problem was is that because honesty was so prevalent, they were too honest. They were overusing the honesty strength. They had no filter because that's where they felt original, authentic, and motivated because they were honest. Then we were laughing like crazy because once we determined that honesty was the central character strength and they were overusing it, then we work on communication skills. How can you be honest and tactful and caring and empathic? Okay, then we adjusted the language. They kept the honesty, which was a strength of the team, but we managed to have a conversation that was productive. That's the kind of magic that strength work can do for a team and an individual who is too honest. That's a problem with your top strengths. You overuse them. Okay, it's not only using them that is productive for you, it's to use it right in the right context.
Yeah, because I can see that honesty it's important and it's a great value to have, but sometimes you need to hold back a little bit.
Yeah, but humility, for example, some here, a lot of people who are very humble, then they complain to me that they let other people run over them all the time and take advantage. Why? They are overusing being humble to a point in which don't assert themselves. Then that's the kind of work I do.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about, you talked about a sales team that you worked with. What other kinds of teams? Is there anything similar about the different clients that you work with?
It's very interesting. The problems are the same problems, no matter what, are problems of loyalty, motivation, resilience, okay? And this is a universal tool. Your strengths can be used for anything. Look, I am publishing a book. It's coming out in a few months. It's being published under the John Maxwell label, for those who know about leadership. Then it's solid book. And the name is The Human Upgrade, the New Leadership for the AI Revolution. Then AI is a blessing, but it's bringing a lot of problems. We are seeing on studies that as you introduce new technology, the level of depression, uncertainty, and anxiety on the people rises a lot. Then what the book does applies all the wisdom of positive psychology to introducing technology while upgrading the human.
Yeah, AI has changed so many things, and it can be a positive influence and it can be a negative influence. I think it has to do a lot with how you're using it and how you want to use it. And I would think bringing in the positive psychology part of it is helping use it, I don't want to say for good, but using it in a positive way.
It's a very simple equation, Jeanne. People bring technology, companies bring technology, people feel weak compared to the technology. They don't feel as efficient, as fast, as accurate. Give them strength to uplift them and be able to work with the technology. And positive psychology gives that strength and purpose. Also, purpose is very important. I work with purpose a lot. Okay, that's another thing that company asked me to do. What is the purpose? Because without purpose, people come to work lost and motivated. Okay, you need to have purpose clear for best performance.
Yeah, that makes total sense. We always say clarity equals velocity. So people can move forward and progress if they're clear on what they're doing and how they're doing it and what their goal and motivation is.
And it's amazing because people ask me what purpose is, and I say purpose is clarity.
Yeah, I love that. That's brilliant. You will have to give us the link to your book once it's out, and we will make sure that we put it in the show notes. Okay.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, because it sounds fantastic. So If somebody is in a position right now where they're not sure what their strengths are, aside from coming to you, what's one thing that they could start with to move them in the right direction?
People listening to now how to get them without having to take the test. Then if they take their phone and they text the word positive to 33777. Okay, just the word positive to 33777. I will email them a chart with the 24 strengths of positive psychology, a couple of questions by which they can determine the top 5, and a couple of exercises to maximize the strength from 9 to 18. Okay, at least that will give them the initial step to know the strengths. Then just text me. I'll be so happy because my goal is a couple of people a day who know the strengths. That's my purpose. Then yes, that's the way. Then we can work one-on-one. I can work with companies to have a scientifically done test, but this will give you, at least you should know the 24 character strengths, and a couple of questions how to begin thinking and choosing them. Just text positive to 33777.
33777.
Yep.
That's so cool. And what a great gift. So thank you for
Oh no,
doing
it's a commitment I have. I want everybody, I had this 180 degrees changing lives through my top strengths. I get so upset when I learned that 7 out of 10 people don't know them, and they have it already. It's not that they had to cultivate them. And they use them, but they use them unintentionally because they are not aware. But once you bring them to consciousness and you are in control of them, then you maximize them from 9 to 18 times. It's amazing. You have them already. Get them.
Yeah, I would think that also makes them happier and feel more fulfilled because they're living in their strengths. They feel confident and excited.
Yeah, positive psychology is called by many the science of happiness. It's something that I don't like to use. I like more the science of well-being and flourishing, but they are all connected.
Yeah, I totally agree. So do you work I know you're in New York, but it sounds like you also worked in Chile. So do you work at all the countries?
An airplane takes me.
Excellent. That's a lot of places.
Yeah.
You did also mention nonprofits. Tell me a little bit about that work.
Yeah, I work with a lot of religious institutions, actually, and foundations. Completely different animal. Then when I work with not-for-profit, they have sometimes, not many times in religious institutions, they have a more clear view of their purpose. The language is more purpose-driven, but they have more dysfunctionality than corporations. Because corporations have all the red tape, and I have to go sometimes through HR and have 20 meetings before I give a 2-hour workshop, and the process is very slow. Okay, but when I get there, there is hierarchy, structures, language, okay, roles. When I go to not-for-profit and religious institutions, the process is easier. I just talk with the executive or whoever and come tomorrow, okay? But because they work with a lot of volunteers and their budget is usually smaller and they need much more work at the structural level. The functioning is not optimal. Okay, then they work a little bit more on using the strength for process, okay, and how to harmonize the strength in the system.
Yeah,
And
I totally get that.
I love both of them.
Because nonprofits just work on, I want to say, a shoestring. They have the least amount of employees because they want the organization to benefit and the people they're helping. So yeah, I can totally see that. And I can totally see that you make a huge difference for them.
I do make a difference. Look, if people are stressed out, then give them strength and purpose. In some ways simple.
Some ways simple to say, some ways simple to say, but not always simple to implement.
What is interesting about positive psychology and purpose is that it's a science, then you don't waste time. Sometimes the coaching process and the consulting process take months and months. Here, the results are immediate. You know your strength, you know your purpose, you begin already. It's incredible how immediate the change is. Then there is a sustainability process, okay? But the change is immediate. That's something very unique to positive psychology.
I love that. I am so grateful that you joined me today, and I'm so grateful for what you do in the world. I'm sure
Thank
you're
you.
making a huge positive impact, and we all need that right now. So thank you
so much.
So if aside from texting you, if people want to reach out to you or learn more about what you do, where should they go?
Very simple. They should know, we all should know that the first word of my website is positive. And positive AB for Alfredo Borodowski, positiveab.com. My website, there, my book is going to be announced, available. I have my workshops and a way to get in touch.
Perfect. That sounds fantastic. And we'll put all that in the show notes so people can just click on those to get there. So my last question for you is the same one I asked all my guests. If you could provide one tip to make the world a better place, what would that be?
Yes, shifting from fixing to nourishing. Okay, since we were children, everything on us, everything outside, people outside who loved us, school, parents, coaches, is about fixing what is weak. And what it did is the reverse of the word intentioned, not to make us better, actually to be all the time looking at what we do wrong and then learning to look what other people do wrong. Imagine if we can use all that energy to help people do great what they are doing good, to maximize their potential, okay? And we managers I work with, on their reviews, they go straight to what we need to improve. No, first you go into what we are doing great and what we can do better. And when people are given that chance, then they themselves begin actually improving, but they are not doing great from a point of strength. Then from fixing to nourishing, that's what I would say everybody to do.
That is fantastic, Alfredo. What a lovely way to end our show. Thank you so much to you. Thank you to our listeners. And we look forward to reaching out, and we look forward to seeing your book when it comes out.
Thank you. And thank you for great questions. It's a pleasure being here.
Thanks for joining us today on Blueprints for Brilliance Coaching Insights. We hope you're leaving this episode with inspiration to take your coaching business and your life to the next level. If you found value in this episode, we would love it if you would subscribe and share it with someone else who you think might benefit from hearing it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next episode.